Well, isn't this exciting? We're finally breaking ground on the Walipini out at the Good Earthworks. And neighbor Jim here came over with his skid steer and bucket, and he's going to be helping us out dig this hole. So the plan is Jim's going to cut out our edge there all the way around our marking, which should leave us a Walipini of about 20 foot by 20 foot or 400 square feet square. But he's taking out the edges first, and then he'll come in from this western side and carve out and dig down 4 feet at this far corner here. That'll be the southwest corner, and then the northeast corner should be at about 6 feet depth, and we'll come in with our tires and use that as a back wall. And you're seeing what looks like some really good soil coming up there. And we'll separate all that soil. We'll use some wire screens and we'll separate the soil from the grass, and we'll use that in our Walipini to grow our produce over the winter. Welcome back to the farm. We finished up digging the hole for the Walipini this week, and hopefully by the end of the week we'll start putting in our earth-filled tires that we're using as retaining walls. We've got a hole that's going to be 20 by 25 feet long, well 20 feet wide, 25 feet long, and we've got a depth of 5 feet right about here where our ramp or our slope starts to come up. This will all be crops that we're going to plant. We'll have a earth battery type heat sink on this north wall. We're looking at adding a small aquaponics setup in the very far back, and then we'll have raised beds on the sides here. We're going to cover it with some specially designed trusses that we're going to construct. And then the southern wall will be all glass or polycarbonate. And as the sun comes in, it's going to warm up. We're also going to add a couple French drains. We'll get a trencher and we'll trench the sides so that we can add some French drains so that we can drain out any kind of water that might collect or stand in here. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to add about 400 feet of air tube. What we'll do is we'll take that same trencher and we're going to create loops in the hillside or around the Walipini. We're going to bury a 4-inch, basically we're going to use a drain tile. It's going to be a non-perforated drain tile, and we're going to use that to circulate air so that we've got constant air movement coming through. And because we're going to bury it below the frost line, the air that goes in and comes out should stay at about 50-55 degrees year round. And then all of our heating will be done passively through the sun. And where we're at, located in the country, we're looking at anywhere between a 50 to a 62 degree angle for our polycarbonate glass windows. Stay tuned.
Yeah, she's coming up. You're good.
We're now getting ready to actually fix the creek and drag a new mouth out, new entrance for the creek at the northern end. And then we're going to take our 20-foot culvert here and we're going to bury it in this section right here and connect the south and the north ends of the creek. And now we start to bury the culvert. And then we'll compact it and everything will be good. Morning and welcome back to the old homestead. It's been a busy week and we got quite a bit done. Just to let you know, the two projects that we got done this week are we got the Walipini completely dug out and we got our culvert replaced. Again, two really big projects that I'm glad we got tackled. And we couldn't have done it without the help of our neighbor Jim and Sarah. Jim came over a couple days with his skid steer and bucket and was able to help us dig some things out so we weren't doing everything by hand or by ourselves. The Walipini has been completely dug out. It's 20 feet by about 25 feet. And we went ahead and made it a little bit deeper than we normally planned. We're now at the northeast corner. We're at about 8 feet deep. And at the southwest corner, we're at about 5.5 feet deep. So we're well below the frost line. And our projects for the Walipini this week will be to add a couple trenches along the side walls and heading down or sloping downhill. And we're going to add some drain tile to that. So just in case there is ever any water built up, we've got those drain tiles that'll be able to drain the Walipini and keep our garden beds from getting soaked or saturated with water that we don't need standing. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to get a trencher and we're going to trench in about 400 feet of air tubes so that we can circulate air from the bottom of the Walipini to the top of the Walipini. And that's one of the ways we're going to manage to keep everything pretty warm during the winter. Now, I'm not talking about a 60-degree difference. What I'm really talking about is maybe a 20 or 30-degree difference. Everything that I've seen in the research, it could be 0 degrees outside and the Walipini will still be somewhere in the 20s to the low 30s if it's done right, and I'm hoping we're doing it right. But again, this is all just one big experiment for us. The thing that I am the most happiest about, like I said, is getting this culvert replaced. We've got a creek that runs from the south end of the homestead all the way up to the north end of the homestead. And we were able to come in and trench out this creek a little bit to the north and to the south. We also dug up the driveway here. We put in a 15-inch, 15 by 20 foot dual wall HDPE culvert. And then we got it covered up with lots of clay and topsoil. So we got a nice smooth driveway so that we can transition all of our equipment and our materials from the west side of the homestead to the east side of the homestead. This was a big project. And really the reason is with that busted culvert that we had buried underneath here, we were getting a lot of standing water and a lot of flooding in the springs from all of our rains. And you can't see it right now because of the tall switchgrass, but we've actually got quite a few areas over here on the north side where the water's just caused quite a bit of erosion. So we're going to get those areas filled in with clay before we tackle our pond in the spring, which again will be on that north side. We're looking at putting in about a half-acre pond. And we're going to use plants that are, again, native to the prairie, water plants specifically, we're going to use to filter out the water because at the far north end of the property is a river. And we don't want to be adding extra polluted water or runoff from these commercial farms that are surrounding us into that. We want to try and mitigate that and reduce the amount of pollutants that we're putting back into our water systems. So that'll be a big project come spring. But again, we're really happy with the work we've done. I appreciate you watching and subscribing. Give us a like, give us a thumbs up, leave me a comment if you got any questions, comments, concerns. If you know a way I could do things better, I'm all ears. Thank you very much. Have a great week.
Beautiful stars, I wanna drive a faster car. I'm gonna be myself, I'm gonna be someone else. I'm gonna be myself, I'm gonna be someone else. I'm gonna skip my breaks, I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna skip my breaks, I'm gonna make mistakes. Try not to hold me down, feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at these beautiful stars, I wanna drive a faster car. Nothing can break me, no, nothing can break me. Try not to hold me down, feel alive when I'm in this town. Look at trip to